right, here we go now, baby. Doubleheader on Monday Night Football. Joe and Jingles coming at you with our best bets for both of the games. Before we get into those best bets, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button right down there. Now then, let us get right into the action. Jingles, let's get started with Bills, Falcons. Who do you like to get into the end zone?
Let's go. Kyle Pitts. He hasn't broken any hearts over his football career. Never. But plus 255 is a good number. I like it laying in this spot, and I like this number at plus 220 or better. Plus 255's there. That's a widely available number. There is a plus 325 at the time of recording at 365, which is obviously a great number, but might be gone by the time you get there. Usage has been great for the tight end / slot receiver / outside guy. He's caught at least 4 passes in every game this season. Has turned his only red zone target in week 4 into a touchdown, plus 310. But obviously that's what we're paying for. A little value on this spot, and he's coming out of the bye. And let's be honest. I mean, Michael Penix went from the worst quarterback in week 3 to one of the better ones in week 4. So a little optimism there. And Pitts is seeing close to 20% target share and is lining up in the slot or outside in 74% of his snaps. So they're scheming him. They're getting him in spots other than traditionally outside, in the box, in the line. And Darnell Mooney missed Thursday's practice, exited week 4, and doubtful in my mind if he can't get ready out of the bye and has that designation into Friday. So maybe a few more targets for old Kyle Pitts here. And as I said, Michael Penix did look a lot more comfortable in week 4. The potential absence of Buffalo's linebacker Matt Milano certainly helps. He has been a staple in shutting down opposing tight ends. Like this spot, like this price, and I love that it's an indoor game with a big total, and I'm getting this number at 255 or better.
Okay, I'll get going with a bit of a weirdo bet. We're going to take Michael Penix Jr., his longest completion to be under 33.5 yards. So Penix Jr. not airing it out a whole lot here this season. He ranks 32nd in average air yards per attempt, 23rd in pass attempts at 20 plus air yards. In 5 games this season, only Lamar Jackson has topped this number against the Bills. That was in week 1 of the season. You might recall Buffalo, the 4th fewest pass plays of 20 plus yards allowed. They're only one of 2 teams not to allow a big pass play of 40 plus yards. And this is a bit of a hallmark of Buffalo's defense. They don't allow a lot of big plays. This is something that carries back to last season as well. So Penix might very well have a good game, but I don't think he's going to be able to connect on any big passes, at least any passes that go for 34 or more. So we'll take Penix longest completion under 33.5. Okay, Jingles, same bet for each quarterback. Let's break them down both at once.
Well, we were on Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 125 last week. That number is there again. It's on the road, obviously, but indoor, obviously, increases passing volume, passing efficiency. So we're back on the Josh Allen over 1.5 pass touchdowns at minus 125. But that Michael Penix Jr. over 1.5 at plus 140 is also in the card. Indoor game. I can't pass up either, especially with a game that's sitting with a total of 50.5. Penix had his best game, as I mentioned before, in week 4 before the bye, completing 77% of his passes, throwing for 2 touchdowns versus the Commanders. He's had the full extra week bye to prep. And Allen has hit this in 4 of his last 5. And it's the same price last week versus New England. The Bills team total is sitting at 27.5, and I'm getting the quarterback minus 125 to throw 2 or more touchdowns. Only Patrick Mahomes projects for more passing TDs than Josh Allen this week per the Blitz. I love Allen's at minus 125, and the Michael Penix one is more on price alone at plus 140, Joe.
Okay, beautiful spot. Bijan Robinson. Didn't you correct me the other week and said I was calling on Bijan, and it is Bijan? Is that correct?
I guess that's what he was saying on a casual pregame show in the preseason. But I think there's a lot of professional athletes out there who get their name wrong and don't correct anybody.
Okay, I'll just refer to him as Robinson. I'm going to take Robinson to have over 15.5 rush attempts. A little juicy at minus 128, but I'm chugging that juice right down here. Spot to attack Robinson. Very well rested, coming off his bye. Off his bye in the game last season, he was fed 26 carries. That was the second most he had all of last season. He has topped this number in 6 of his last 7 games at home. And the Falcons should really be looking to keep Robinson busy in this game versus a Bills team that is allowing the 5th most rushing yards per game and the second most yards per attempt on the ground here. So Robinson over 15.5 rushing yards. Okay, on to game number 2. They're overlapping these games. I hate that they do that. Does anyone like that they overlap these games? Either way, some good looking betting opportunities for the Bears Commanders. And I'm going to start things off with the Commanders, quite simply covering the spread, -4.5. So in case you're not aware, I'm here to fill you in that the Chicago Bears absolutely stink once again, especially on the defensive end of the football. Dead last in yards per play allowed. Washington is 7th in yards per play, despite Jaden Daniels missing a pretty big chunk of time so far here this season, and he did look pretty good in his return to action last week. Number 1 in yards per rush attempt versus dead last in yards per rush allowed. A little bit more on that here momentarily. They did put up 481 yards in that game versus Chicago last season. People will point out that it was a close game, but it wasn't as close as it looked like in terms of what the final score indicated. 2 home games so far for Washington this season, winning by 15 and 17. Going back to last season at home, they are an NFL best 9-2 against the spread. Bears offense, this is supposed to be their bread and butter. Not very special at all. 20th in yards per play, super undisciplined as well. The 4th most penalties per game. And I do think this game sets up really nicely for the Commanders to have their best game of the season. Daniels back in the mix, feeling healthy, a big game feel. Monday Night Football in Washington. So give me the Commanders to cover that number, -4.5. Okay, that man, Jaden Daniels, you like something for him. What do we got?
I think we're on a price thing here again with Jaden Daniels over 1.5 passing touchdowns, +110. Daniels' price is the same as Spencer Rattler in this week. I get it that he's not exactly his last year self, but this is a guy who can get a lot better than he has been. Another week removed from his knee injury. Deebo Samuels has touchdowns in back-to-back weeks, and the Commanders get a little extra pep having a Monday night game. Terry McLaurin here is the issue. He is probably trending more doubtful than probable, but the Bears could be down multiple guys in the secondary. Kyler Gordon, limited, has yet to play this year, and Waquan Brisker, DNP, still questionable after the bye, what leads me to he'll probably be sitting. And that could lean up for a Washington team that projects as the second fastest game on the slate. You mentioned how bad the Chicago defense can be. I think this is a good spot, and the dip of Jaden Daniels' passing limit and his over 1.5 passing TDs at plus money. I think this should be down to be -105, -110, but a good spot here in a game that both quarterbacks are going to get up for.
Okay, next up, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. You know this guy? He's going to be a household name after this game. I'm going to take him to go for over 63.5 rushing yards. So he's coming off a career best 111 yards on the ground off just 14 carries last week versus the Chargers. That should really solidify him as the number 1 back in Washington's backfield. He did account for 14 of the 20 rushes coming from running backs in that game versus the Chargers last week. And this was the second time this season that the rookie had double-digit carries. The first came in week 1. He had 10 carries, and he went for 82 yards. So he is making the most of the opportunities when they are given to him, and expect him to take full advantage versus this awful Bears defense. As I pointed out, dead last by a wide margin and yards allowed per rush attempt this season. Chicago also allowing an average of 164.5 rushing yards per game. A running back has topped this number in a game against them in every single game so far here this season. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt over 63.5 rush yards. Okay, Jingles, bring us home here. Final bet for the Monday Night Football doubleheader. What do we got?
Let's go on the other side. Caleb Williams to score a touchdown. At what price? +240? No. +280? No. +340. This is a great price for an offense that scored 56 points over the last 2 games heading into the break. Caleb Williams getting a little more functional within this system. Through 4 games, the Chicago quarterback, 24 carries, 110 yards, and 8 red zone rushing attempts. DeAndre Swift is not the greatest goal line back. We know that. In week 4 alone, And these are the things that you can finding teams that are coming out of the bye, because recency bias drives a lot of these markets. Sometimes in week 4 alone, Caleb Williams led all quarterbacks with 4 red zone rushes against an inconsistent Washington defense at this price. This is a buy for me, especially with guys like Bo Nix, Drake May are sitting shorter than plus 250. I think if you saw this at plus, I don't know, plus 240, you think that's probably more the fair price. And according to the Blitz, this is one of the best plus EV touchdowns on the entire week 6 slate. Let's have more quarterbacks rushing for TDs in prime time, because that seems to be the narrative heading into the end of week 6, Joe.
Okay, there you have it. All of our best bets for the Monday Night Football doubleheader. Enjoy the games. Best of luck with your bets, and we'll see you right back here on the Covers YouTube channel for all the NFL Week 7 action.